Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Iffah Binti Juhari. Our group will present about the emissions from gasoline and diesel engines vehicle. What is emission? Emission is a term used to describe unwanted gases and pollutants that are introduced into the air or emitted by multiple sources. Diesel and gasoline engines are the primary powertrain supplies used in automobiles. Both are internal and intermittent combustion engines. The gasoline is self-ignited in diesel engine when it is pumped into air that has been heated by compression. The petrol is ignited in gasoline engines by ignition plugs. The fuels used in diesel and gasoline engines are both distinct, with diesel fuels comprising the higher boiling range of petroleum fractions. Because of its higher density, a liter of diesel fuels produce nearly 13% more energy than a liter of gasoline.
My name is Syafiqah Binti Paimen. I want to talk about sources and process of emission from gasoline and diesel engine vehicle.
Source of emission from gasoline and diesel engine vehicle. First source is the engine exhaust. The exhaust pipe discharge burn and unburned hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, oxides of nitrogen and sulfur. The diesel exhaust gases are primarily composed of carbon dioxide, water, and the unused portion of engine charged air. The crankcase is a secondary source of unburned hydrocarbons, and an example of a lower level is carbon monoxide. Next, in the fuel tank and the carburetor, hydrocarbons are continually evaporating from gasoline, constitute a minor but not insignificant contribute factor in pollution. In the crankcase, the portion of the engine block below the cylinders where the crankshaft is located. Leak combustion gases are combined with ventilating air and return to the intake manifold for reburning in the combustion chamber. The pollutants originate from various non-ideal processes during combustion, such as incomplete combustion of fuel, reactions between mixture components under high temperature and pressure, combustion of engine lubricating oil and oil additives, and also combustion of non-hydrocarbon components of diesel fuel such as sulfur compounds and fuel additives. Process of emission from gasoline and diesel engine vehicle. Gasoline and diesel operate on the same four-stroke cycle, which is suction. The intake stroke with a piston descends, sucking air into the cylinder through open air intake valve as fuel is injected. Compression. The compression stroke where the valve closes and the piston goes back up the cylinder to compress the air and the fuel mixture. Power. The power stroke where the mixture is ignited to force the piston back down the cylinder. Exhaust. The exhaust stroke occurs when the ignited fuel and air mixture is pushed back up of the cylinder by the piston through the exhaust valve. Diesel engines more sufficient than gasoline engine because it is comprised of more long chain hydrocarbon which has more energy compared to the gasoline. The diesel engine is an auto-ignition engine in which fuel and air are mixed inside the engine. The air required for combustion is highly compressed inside the combustion chamber. This generates high temperature which are sufficient for the diesel fuel to ignite spontaneously when it is injected into the cylinder. Thus, the diesel engine uses heat to release the chemical energy contained in the diesel fuel and to convert it into the mechanical force. In diesel engines, the fuel is self-ignited as it is injected into air that has been heated by compression, and in gasoline engine, the fuel is ignited by sparking plugs. Diesel engine use fuel injector due to diesel does not properly mix with air. However, if atomized diesel is sprayed into high temperature, spontaneous combustion will occur. Meanwhile, gasoline engines use a spark plug, so gasoline readily evaporates, so it gets mixed with air efficiently. As a result, just a spark is sufficient to produce smooth combustion in a well pre-mixed gasoline engine.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Hanim Binti Ahmad Sofian, and I will explain about the emission from gasoline and diesel engine vehicle. Diesel and gasoline engines are the major powertrain source that used in vehicles. Both are internal intermittent combustion engines. Diesel engines produce 2 to 10 times more particulate emission than gasoline engines without catalytic converter of comparable power output. However, with a catalytic converter, diesel engines produce 2 to 40 times more particulate emission than gasoline engines equipped. There are 4 main pollutants emission, including particulate matter, hydrocarbon, carbon monoxide, and also nitrogen oxide.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Farah, Afiqah Binti Mazli. So next, I will continue the presentation to the effect of diesel and gasoline emission to human health. Based on World Health Organization, there are 3 effects of diesel and gasoline emission to human health, which is irritating to eye and skin. Second is severe lung injury, and third is possible carcinogen. So let's take a look on the irritating to eyes and skin first. This is caused by the exhaust. There are an experiment which show that diesel exhaust particle can be shown as the adjuvant allergen, which is resulting on high sensitization response. Next, we go to the severe lung injury. The example of severe lung injury is asthma, chronic bronchitis, and respiratory tract infection. This is caused by the smoke from the vehicle, which also contribute to the most of the air pollutant scenario. And lastly, we go to the possible carcinogen, which also known as cancer. This can be proved by the statement of International Agency for Research of Cancer, IARC, which claim that there are positive association between diesel and gasoline exhaust and cancer bladder. So that's all about the effect of diesel and gasoline toward human health. I will pass the presentation to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to the previous presenter. My name is Fatin Atiqah Binti Adnan, and I will explain about the effect of gasoline and diesel usage towards environment. There are 4 effects of gasoline and diesel usage towards environment that I found. First, it will contribute to air pollution. It is from the vapor given off when gasoline evaporates and the substance produced when gasoline is burned. The vapor that might contribute to air pollution are carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, particulate matter, and unburned hydrocarbons. These vapors come from the consumer where they use gasoline in their cars, light trucks, other watercraft, small aircraft, and landscaping and construction equipment. Second, it will contribute to greenhouse effect. Each gallon of gasoline burned will create 20 pounds of greenhouse gases. when the greenhouse gas emission from the gasoline increase, they will build up in the atmosphere and warm the climate. This is because the build-up of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases such as methane, nitrous oxide, and hydrofluorocarbons are causing the Earth's atmosphere to warm and resulting in change to the climate. Third, it will cause climate change. The burning fossil fuel such as gasoline and diesel will release carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas, into the atmosphere and cause climate change. It also may lead to many other changes around the world. For example, it will change the atmosphere on land and in the oceans. Climate change will make the sea level rising and ocean becoming warmer. And lastly, it will contribute contamination on subsurface soils and underwater. It happens when there are leaking from piping and underground storage tanks at petrol, which is gasoline and diesel service station. Small leaks may contaminate very local soil. However, the larger ones can lead to non-aqueous phase liquid, which is NaPl, floating on groundwater. The vapor from it will contaminate the vadose zone above the water table, and solid components dissolve in the groundwater, and NaPl may migrate off-site. That's all from me. Now I will pass to the next presenter.
Now, let's move to the control technology of gasoline in industry, which is gasoline particulate filter or GPF. It is a key technology of gasoline engine development to reduce carbon dioxide emission while improving torque and power output. But drawback of gasoline direct injection or GDI engines is an increase in particle number emission compared to conventional port fuel injection, or we call as PFI engines. Now, let's move to the control technology of diesel engine in industry. As you can see in the first picture, it is a diesel oxidation catalyst, or we call it DOC. It is a function to oxidize hydrocarbon and also carbon monoxide emission. Besides, DOC also plays an important role in decreasing the mass of particulate emission by oxidizing some of the hydrocarbons that are absorbed onto the carbon particles. Next, control technology of diesel engine in industry is diesel particulate filter or DPF. For your information, this technology have been applied in the production of vehicles since year 2000. It is used to remove particulate matter emission from the exhaust gas by physical filtration and usually made of either cordiorite or silicon carbide honeycomb structure monolith with the channels that block at alternate ends. Last but not least is selective catalytic reduction (SCR). Is technology used to reduce nitrogen oxide emission and especially improve for high-duty vehicles. Nowadays, it is being developed for light-duty passengers vehicles, and a few light-duty vehicles manufacturers such as Audi has been using this technology in their automobile. Moreover, SCR is used to minimize nitrogen oxide emissions in the exhaust gas to utilize ammonia as the reductant. That's all from me. Thank you.
For the conclusions, restricted supplies for liquid fuels and the preventions of toxic pollutions associated with the combustions of these fuels, as well as forage competitions, are the key factors in the recent rapid productions of motor vehicles. The key developments in the constructions of vehicles and their engines are currently decided by the criteria of the provisions on the eliminations of toxic emissions of exhaust gases and carbon dioxide emissions. One of the solutions to mitigate is the use of biodiesels, since it is a diesel fuel made from vegetable oil, which it is free of sulfur in its pure form and eliminates particulate matter when used.